All right, everyone, settle in. This is it, the final exam review. We're going to boil down an entire semester of networking into just the most critical, must-know concepts. No fluff. If you can follow along with me here, you're going to be more than ready for this thing.
So let's get right into it. We're starting with the absolute backbone of, well, not just your local network, but the entire internet. You really have to understand how data moves from point A to point B. Get this, and you'll be in excellent shape for the exam. First up, routing.
You can think of it this way. Without routing, the internet would just be a bunch of isolated islands. Routing is what builds the bridges that connect all of them, and that's what lets us break free from the confines of our own little local network.
Take a look at this. On the left side, you've got your typical local network. The switch in the middle, it's perfect for letting all those devices talk to each other. Super fast, super efficient. But the second one of them needs to talk to a device on the right, a totally different network, that switch is, well, it's useless. It has no idea how to cross that gap, and that's exactly where the router comes in. It's the gateway between these two different worlds.
So how does your computer know where to send all that traffic that's headed for another network? It uses something called a default gateway, and this exit door analogy, it's perfect. Any piece of data, any packet that isn't for another machine right there on your local network gets sent straight to this gateway. Your computer doesn't need the whole map of the internet. It just needs to know the address of its one and only exit door.
Okay, pay close attention to this slide because I can almost guarantee you're going to see a question like this on the exam. These are the two commands you have to know. First, the route command. That lets you see the current map your computer is using. And step 2, IP route add default. That's how you tell it, hey, for any destination you don't already know, send the traffic here. That's how you define that exit door we were just talking about.
Okay, that's the theory. Now let's actually put it into practice. This is where it all comes together. We're going to take a standard Linux machine and, with just a couple of commands, turn it into a fully functional router. This lab is going to show you exactly how these concepts work in the real world.
So here's our lab setup. Just imagine host A is in, say, one building, and host C is in another building, and they're each on their own private network. Our machine in the middle, host B, that one's special. It has two network cards. One has a connection to the first building, and the other has a connection to the second. Our whole goal here is to make host B the bridge that lets host A and host C finally talk to each other.
All right, so we hop on host A and we try to ping host C, and we get this. Network is unreachable. Now, this is a really critical error message to understand. It doesn't mean the other computer is turned off. It means host A is basically saying, I don't even know where to begin to send this. The destination isn't on my street, and I have no instructions for how to get there.
So, why did it fail? It all comes back to the routing table. Think of the routing table like your computer's internal GPS. Right now, host A's GPS only has its own local neighborhood mapped out. We never gave it the instructions, the route, to say, hey, to get to that other network, your next turn is over at host B.
Now, here's the step where so many people get stuck. Networking, it's always a two-way street. We add a route on host A, telling it how to reach host C through our router, host B. But if we stop there, it's still going to fail. Why? Because host C gets the message, but it has no idea how to send a reply back. We have to add that second route on host C, telling it how to send packets back to host A's network, again using host B as the gateway.
Okay, so our routes are perfect. We try the ping again, and nothing. The command just hangs there blinking. This is the second classic pitfall, and you know what? It's a security feature, not a bug. By default, the Linux machine will never pass traffic from one of its network interfaces to another. Just imagine if it did. Any compromised machine could instantly become a bridge for an attacker to get into other, more secure parts of your network. So it's a safety measure we have to manually override.
And here is exactly how we override it. Linux gives us this amazing little window into the kernel's brain through the /proc file system. We can literally just check a file to see the setting. If IP forward has a 0 in it, forwarding is off. To turn it on, we just use the echo command to write a 1 into that file. This one simple command tells the operating system, you are now officially a router.
And success! We run the ping one last time and we finally get that beautiful reply. Data is now flowing from host A, through our brand new router host B, all the way to host C, and then all the way back again. We did it! So remember the two key steps that will absolutely be on your exam. First, you have to define the routes on both ends. And second, you have to enable IP forwarding on the router itself.
Fantastic. So we've mastered connecting machines using those numerical IP addresses. But let's be honest, nobody wants to remember 192.168.2.5. We want to type google.com. That's where our next big topic comes in, the Internet's phone book, the domain name system, or DNS.
For the exam, you absolutely need to know these three record types. An A record, that points a name to a classic IPv4 address. The AAA record, or Quad A, does the exact same thing but for the newer IPv6 addresses. And the CNAME, or canonical name, that's really just a nickname. It says food.webserver is actually just another name for eat.webserver. Know these three cold.
Now, this little file is a huge source of confusion and a fantastic troubleshooting tip. When your computer looks up a name, where does it look first? Well, the answer is right here, in /etc/nslookup.conf. That line, hosts files DNS, is the key. It gives the order of operations. Check local files first, specifically the /etc hosts file, and only if you don't find an answer there, then go ask a DNS server. If something isn't resolving right, this is often the reason why.
Okay, so we've built some things. Now let's talk about what happens when they inevitably break. Because they will. It'll happen on the exam, and it'll happen on day one of your first job. Having a systematic way to troubleshoot is what separates the pros from the people who just start randomly rebooting things. So let's build that toolkit. I want you to memorize this 4-step workflow. It's a logical process of elimination that will solve, I'm not kidding, 90% of network issues. Step 1, check yourself. Does my machine even have an IP address? Use IP8AR. Step 2, check your local connection. Can I reach the front door? Ping your gateway. Step 3, check name resolution. Can I look up a name? Use dig. And finally, step 4, check the map. Is my routing table even correct? Use IP route. If you follow this order, you will pinpoint the exact layer where the problem is.
All right, time for a little pop quiz. Let's see if you've been paying attention. I'm going to give you 2 classic scenarios you might see on the exam. Let's see how you do.
First question. You're troubleshooting a name resolution problem. You think a local configuration is overriding the public DNS server. Which file do you need to check first to see that local mapping?
And the answer is /etc/hosts. Remember, because of that file's DNS order in nslookup.conf, the system always checks this local file before it ever sends a single packet to an external DNS server. It's like your personal override switch.
Second question, and this one is straight from our lab. You have set up all your static routes perfectly on all the hosts. You can ping the router, but you can't ping through it. What is that one file you need to check on the router itself to enable the packet flow?
That's right. It's /proc sysnet IPv4 IP forward. And remember, this is a security feature. That default value of 0 tells the kernel to be a solid wall, not a bridge. Changing that to a 1 is what flips the switch and gives it permission to forward those packets. And that's it. Routing, DNS, troubleshooting. These are the fundamental building blocks. You have everything you need to ace this exam. But the real test, that starts after. The real question is, how are you going to use these tools to build, maintain, and secure the networks that our entire modern world runs on? That's the real challenge. Good luck. You've got this.